In the past few weeks, Childress Racing has come under a lot of criticism for their poor performances. While things did look a bit positive during the first half of 2023, it could not be worse this year. The team has taken a huge fall and is now starting to make some changes in their staff in a desperate attempt to get back. Andy Petree, the team's VP of competition, just announced that he would be retiring effective immediately. This news came as a shock to the NASCAR world, as it's unusual for a team to part ways with a top-level executive when the season is still ongoing. Petree released the following statement to announce his retirement. "I'm incredibly grateful to Richard Childress for the impact he has had on my career, as well as the wonderful memories and on-track success we have enjoyed together. Although my day-to-day involvement with RCR is changing, I will always be a fan and supporter of everyone in Welcome, North Carolina. I wish RCR the best for the rest of this season and beyond." Petree has been the VP of competition for RCR since 2017. During his tenure with the team has not been able to get their drivers to win a Cup Series championship. The last time one of RCR's drivers won a championship was in 1994 with Dale Earnhardt. But now RCR is looking to make some changes within the team, starting with Andy Petree. Here's what Richard Childress said about the change. "Andy Petree has been a tremendous supporter of RCR for many years, and we wish him success in the future. Our organization won 2 championships with Andy during his first stint at RCR, and we have made the NASCAR playoffs and won races with him during his most recent tenure. I'm grateful for his contributions to the team, leadership, and friendship over the years. Keith Rodden has big shoes to fill as interim competition director, but I know his passion for motorsports and dedication will help drive RCR forward during a key time for our organization." This season, RCR has not been able to provide their drivers with a competitive car. One of the main reasons for this depreciating performance is the next-gen cars that were introduced in 2022. One of RCR's drivers, Kyle Busch, has spoken a lot about how the next-gen cars affect the pace of the car. It looks as though RCR is using Andy Petree as the scapegoat for the results. Effective immediately, Keith Rodden will be taking on this role. Keith has been the crew chief for the number 3 car of Austin Dillon, but at the moment it's not clear if Keith will abandon this role to take on the role of interim VP of competition. Given that he is just the interim VP, he will most likely continue with his role for the time being. But if RCR makes him the permanent VP, they will have to find someone else to take on the role of crew chief for the number 3 car. As VP of competition, he will have to look at how the team can improve the pace of the car and get back to fighting with the leaders. So far, Busch has not been able to get into the top 5 very often. Dillon, on the other hand, has been even worse off. As mentioned before, the next-gen cars have a part to play in this. Here's what Kyle Busch had to say about the next-gen cars after the race in Martinsville. "The problem starts at the front of the car. The splitter and the way the air is, and everything that we all do on setup stuff to make these things rely on the air as much as they do. That's a problem. I think they went about it, and that's a funny way to say it, backwards. We don't blow the tires off enough. I think that's what we're all kind of talking about. We need these things to be faster going into the corner, utilizing the brakes more, utilizing the tires more, having an opportunity to overdrive the cars more to burn the tires up, and see guys struggle more over a run. For me anyway, maybe it's just because we don't have it quite figured out like others do, but I cannot follow anybody in front of me whatsoever. It doesn't matter if I'm in the bottom lane, in the middle lane, or the top lane. If there's a car in front of me, I'm terrible, really bad. I will say the only positive to it is that you can slide the back of the car around a little bit more and not crash. But the front ends are just ungodly, not working." When asked what he would suggest NASCAR do to fix the issue at hand, he said, "It doesn't matter because they're not going to do it, so it don't matter. I'm not going to paint myself in a bad spot to get in trouble." It seems clear that Busch has no hope that NASCAR will fix this problem. When NASCAR designed the next-gen cars for the manufacturers, one of the main goals was to increase the amount of downforce generated. This allows the car to attack corners at higher speeds. This will be particularly helpful in road courses and street circuits. Given that NASCAR is looking to increase the number of street races going forward, they want the cars to be more compatible with these circuits. But in doing this, the cars have become more aerodynamically sensitive. While this could increase the pace around the corners, it makes the car more vulnerable to dirty air. Before we continue, let's first understand what dirty air is. Have you ever felt turbulence while traveling in an airplane? Well, dirty air is more or less similar to this effect. Dirty air is usually faced when a car is following another car ahead. It more commonly occurs in the corners, where the cars are already using the tires to the limit. The lead car basically uses up the energy of the clean air and leaves behind air with low total pressure, or dirty air. Due to this disruption in the onset flow, the following car has reduced aerodynamic performance. However, it's not just the pure loss in downforce that makes overtaking tricky under these conditions. When a car goes through dirty air, the driver tends to lose the feelings of the car they would normally have in clean air. This will cause the car to vibrate and react a lot more than usual. Given the nature of NASCAR, dirty air plays a very important role as the cars race very close to each other and try to get a slipstream. The concept of slipstream is quite similar. It's when a car travels right behind another car so they don't face resistance from the oncoming air. This allows the car behind to travel at higher speeds. There's a fine margin between slipstream and dirty air. It all comes down to the layout of the track. Dirty air affects the cars more while attacking corners. So a driving style that drivers have adopted is using slipstream in the straights while taking a different racing line than the car ahead to avoid dirty air in the corners. But even with this strategy, it'll be tricky to get the advantage over the rest of the field. RCR is facing a lot of issues with this at the moment. There's no doubt that RCR's new VP of competition will have to find a way to work around this problem. The fact is that other teams with the same manufacturer as RCR, such as HMS, are able to find success in the sport. So it's clear that RCR has screwed something up in the setup. There's also the question of the driving style that's used. The VP of competition should be able to look at the data and suggest appropriate changes to the driver's driving style. Kyle Busch, for example, has proven to be successful in the previous era of NASCAR. But ever since he came out of JGR to join RCR in 2020, he has not been the same. This is because he switched from a team running Toyota cars to a team running Chevrolet cars. With such a vital change, Busch needs the right person to advise on how he can get accustomed to the new manufacturer. As it stands, it doesn't look like RCR themselves understand their own car. Let's see if their new VP of competition is able to do a better job at this and get RCR back on top. There are only 8 more races left this season, and none of the RCR drivers have qualified for the playoffs yet. So the question is, will RCR be able to fix their issues with the car within the next 8 races? They'll be hoping so. Otherwise, it would not look good for them at all. There is also a good chance that they will lose Kyle Busch to some other team if an offer comes along. As it stands, Busch does have a contract until the end of the 2025 season, but RCR should make sure that he doesn't grow impatient. We could see the team make some changes in their personnel in the coming weeks, but will this help them revive their current season? Post your thoughts in the comment section below.